All right, so again, it's going to be really informative in the essence of we wanting to know, and before I hit the call off, I'm going to ask any questions that you guys have. You can just jot them down because I'm probably going to answer the question as I go through. So instead of just multiple, interjections, so to say, that way we can all get through the information. So please hold your questions till the end. I'll make sure if I don't answer them, I answer them at the end. But I just want to make sure that this has the strongest delivery that it can have. So if you're coming into Family First Life and this is your full-time job, I suggest that you treat it like a job. And what I mean by that is I suggest that you treat it like anything where your boss is asking you to do something, which yes, you are your own boss 100%. But think if you can trick your mind for a couple of months to think, if my boss told me I have to do this or is going to get fired, would I do it? That's really going to kind of help you out a lot. It might sound mean, but you will probably thank me later if you implement it. I know that it helped me a heck of a lot in the beginning. So what a full-time producer schedule looks like is on Mondays, we're starting our dial day. We're in the office or we're in our office, wherever that might be. And we're ready to go at 7:30. No distractions. We're ready to go 7:30 and we're setting up our appointments for Tuesday and Wednesday. And now we're dialing on Monday on the dial team. If you're running, face to face, in home, which if you've never been in the industry, I would suggest that you do in home until you get through at least 50 or so or 100 appointments. And then you can start thinking about virtual because it's a lot harder of a feel from the beginning. However, if you are doing virtual, that's totally fine. But you want to think about, okay, you're dialing, and if you're not doing call to close, then you're setting up 30 appointments for the next 2 days. So you're doubling that activity. You're on the phones until you get 15 appointments, and I'm assuming you're running in the field. So there's been days like I literally start dialing at 7:30 in the morning and I don't stop dialing until 9 o'clock at night. And are those days now that I've been in the industry for a bit longer, are those days less common? Yes. But in the beginning, when we're first getting started, is that something that should feel normal? 100%. And the thing about this job I can tell you is that there's not going to be a lot of physical, elements that are going to take place. Like we ain't out here running marathons, but what we are doing is it's a lot of mental tenacity. And if you don't have mental tenacity, it's going to be really hard on you. I'm not saying that you got to be like Navy SEAL, but what I am going to tell you is if you can't pick the phone up and call Karen 3 times back to back, this isn't going to work for you. And I say that, and anything I say on here, it's not meant to be sarcastic or demeaning. It's meant to set the proper expectation of, hey guys, this is what it actually looks like. I don't want there to be any confusion. So on Thursday, we're doing the same thing. We're picking the phone up, we're dialing for appointments on Friday and Saturday. Sometimes people will say, I can't work on Saturdays because of ABC reason. Another great day to run is Sunday. So my schedule sometimes would look like I dial on Thursday for Friday and Sunday. I have my, friend's birthday party on Saturday, whatever it might be. You're dialing for the next 2 days. So that's really important just to note there that if you're running in home, 30 appointments a week. If you're not, you should be doing 60 if you're doing all virtual. So what do you need to dial? So you're going to need your leads, right? So your leads need to be printed out. I can't emphasize that enough. I recycled my whole life, so I have the ability to say, yes, print out all 200 of your leads. It's going to help you. That way you actually know you're resolving each lead. So, Joe tells you to fly a kite. Okay, you toss Joe and you call the next one. You book Donna. Donna's in your appointments pile. Print your leads. You're going to need your phone script. So whatever, lead you're dialing is going to have a similar phone script. If you're dialing an internet lead, it's going to have a similar phone script as if you're dialing a final expense lead, just a couple of interchangeable words. However, you want to make sure you have those correct resources before you're getting onto the actual phones, and we will go more into depth there. Phone burner. So phone burner, I don't want this to be confused. There's an app on your phone that you can download that's called Phone Burner. Phone Burner is an actual service that you set up online, and it runs off of your computer. And what it's doing, it's an auto dialer. So it's almost taking the emotion out of dial, right? Like I can call, 60 people or 100 people, and maybe, you know, I talked to 10 and I booked 2, right? And I could be emotional about that. But when I'm on phone burner, it's just going to keep dialing the next person. So it's taking the emotions out of it so that if I have, you know, 200, 300 leads, now I'm able to export them into phone burner and it's just going to dial through them. The script pops up. It's beautiful. Now, you know, Larry answers the phone and I'm like, hey, Larry, you know, and Larry's like, fly a kite. And I'm like, okay, I could get emotional about this, but then I'm like, oh, now Timothy's on the line. Hey, Timothy, okay. And now I booked Timothy. It's not that deep, right? So it takes the emotions out of it. And again, I'll go more into depth about phone burner, but essentially it helps out. It's going to help you get through a lot of leads quickly. And that's important in this business because if you can't dial through your leads, you can't book appointments. So with that being said, join the dial team. So if you're within, you know, the Solidity group, which I believe everybody on here is, you want to go on zoomsolidity.com. We run our dial team from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. If you're like, well, I live on the, you know, I live in Arizona, right? Okay, we understand that, you know, you're not going to be on the dial team at 5 a.m. dialing. You know, we wouldn't recommend to dial at 5 a.m. But what we would recommend is, you know, if you're up at 5 a.m. to turn it on and listen to that active dialer. So you may be saying, what is dial team? So what dial team is essentially is a group of people. So, you know, whoever tunes into it. So if you, Christina hops on the dial team, but Christina's not dialing that day, or Christina just bought her lead, she's a brand new agent, and she hops on the dial team. All Christina's doing is exactly what we're doing right now. She's implementing because she's dialing her own leads, and she's just, maybe she's getting beat up. She keeps getting, you know, I didn't fill that out. Now what Christina can do is she can pause, take a second, listen to the active dialer on the dial team. And what she can also do is type in the chat box, hey guys, I keep getting, you know, I didn't fill this form out. What do you guys say? And now there's a bunch of top producers on there who are able to answer back and say, you know, Brad, this is what I say when somebody says that to me. Or they're able to role play quickly with you. So it's really important that you get onto that, because it's not like we're saying, hey, get on there and dial live. No, one day you will be on there dialing live, setting an example. But at the same time, really more so it's so that you can see and hear that people like myself, people like Rami, people like Zach, people like, we all get the pushback. It's about how much can you actually persevere through. So join the dial team. If you're not sure what it is, get on it and you'll know exactly what it is. Register for work spots and get to your local office. I can't stress this enough. Like if, you know, we all had 3 hours right now, I'd be talking about this for 3 hours. If you're not going to an office and you live within a 3.5 hour span of one, you're not hurting anybody but yourself. If you don't have the work spots membership, what work spots is, and again, I'm going to break this down in another slide, but really essentially just to keep it simple, it's going to provide you with discount codes on leads. It's $99 a month. I don't get paid for like promo in it. I just know how I know how good it is, because I know every agent on my team that has work spots, which is every agent that writes at a high level, they save like way more than $99 a month on leads. So the lead discount codes, but also you can plug into any office around the country and you can get around top producers. People are in, you know, our office, you know, each and every like Monday and Thursday dialing. That way they're hearing other top producers dialing. They're in the right environment. So if you're going to say like, you know, oh, well, like I can't dial, like, you know, like when I used to dial from home, I used to literally like think that I had more laundry than, you know, a mom of 6, like, you know what I mean? Like everything had to be washed, or the table had to be wiped down, or, you know, I could just sweep the floor really quick. Like, no. If I was at work, I couldn't do that, right? So get yourself into an environment where you can get your mindset right and you're around the right people. It's going to make it a lot easier on you. And it's also going to make the rejection that much easier, which sounds kind of messed up in a way, because you're saying like people want to hear me get told no on the phone. Like people love it. Like my new agents text me like, haha, happy to see you get it too. It's like, of course I get it. But it's about I don't care, you know, like I don't care. So it's great to see other people not taking it personally. When I first came into Family First Life particularly, I used to drive 3.5 hours out to an office in Connecticut. You're like, what was at that office? What was at that office with other motivated individuals that wanted to do what I was doing that day, which was dial the phones, book appointments, and go run appointments the following 2 days. So you might be like, you spent 7 hours in the car. Heck yeah. And I got to listen to a lot of podcasts that are the reason why, you know, over the years, I've been able to get better and better. I utilize that 7 hours every Monday and Thursday. Since then, you know, I do have my own office out here in Massachusetts, but I don't know that I would have this office out here in Massachusetts if I never got to Connecticut, because I wouldn't have worked this hard. So I hope that all makes sense so far. So agent resources. So first agent resource would be fflwestcoast.com. And on fflwestcoast.com, you're going to find similar material that you're going to find on fflsolidity.com, such as phone scripts, training materials, you know, the objection handling workbook, pretty much anything and everything you would really need in terms of resources. Another great resources to another great website to bookmark or have on your laptop and or your phone is ffl-go.com. And you're going to find all of the quoting tools, the carrier underwriting guides, corporate podcasts, pretty much, again, anything and everything that you would actually need to be able to quote in this case. So want to make sure you're able to do that. So again, fflsolidity.com, fflwestcoast.com. Here you'll find your phone scripts, training materials, YouTube videos, objection workbooks, scripts, etc. FFL-go, you're going to find more of things about the carriers, the way to quote, so on and so forth. Download the Next Level Plus app. So this is an app you download right on your phone. You want to make sure you have this. Again, just another place to go that's going to be resourceful when you're going to be looking at, you know, your folder, if you will, of resources. If you're not in the Slack channel, please go ahead and post in the chat and say you're not in the Slack channel. But in the Slack channel or in the Slack workspace, you'll find that in-home help channel. And essentially, the in-home help channel is there when you're in a home. You can call your upline, definitely call your upline. But if your upline for whatever reason is unavailable, you are able to post, you know, I have a 45-year-old female who is a non-smoker. She's looking to cover her final expenses. She takes medication A, B, C, and D. And, you know, she had surgery 10 years ago. Oh, okay, now we're able to help you out in that channel. There's what we call an underwriting genie who will tell you what way to go. But those are just some of the resources that we have that are good to know as a brand new agent. And now lead budget and expectations. I wouldn't even say of top producers. I would say of producers who write at a level that is almost expected here. So $500 to $1,000 each lead order. You might be like, you know, I know when I came from my captive insurance company I used to work with to in the IMO world, I was like, oh my God, we have to buy our leads. Like, what if they don't work? Like, okay, well, what if they do work? What if they do work? Because here's what I can tell you is they do work. Okay, so $500 to $1,000 each lead order. What you want to expect from that, if you're working the leads, and I'm going to get into expectations of what working the lead should look like, you should make, if you're working the leads like diligently, you should make 10 times the amount you put in. So if you put in $500, you should be able to 10x that off that lead purchase into at least $5,000. You invest $1,000, you should be able to 10x that into $10,000. So again, $500 to $1,000 each lead order. If you're sitting there saying, well, I don't really know, I don't need to make 5,000, I don't need to make 10,000. You need that many leads to make anything happen. If you're thinking to invest like $100 in leads, you're only hurting yourself. And I'm not being mean when I say that, but if I only had $100 worth of leads and I've been dialing the phone since late 2016, I don't know that I would book an appointment. Like I probably wouldn't. So buying, you know, like 10 leads isn't going to do anything. So please don't do that. So you want to make sure that you have new leads for each dial day. So that $500 to $1,000, you want to make sure on Sunday, because we're purchasing our leads on Sunday for Monday, we're purchasing our leads on Wednesday for Thursday. You want to make sure that you're doing that the day before. If you're supposed to dial on Monday at 7:30 a.m. and then you don't buy your leads until Monday morning, now you got to print them out and organize them in whatever way. That isn't good. So twice a week, you're ordering leads on Sunday night for Monday, on Wednesday night for Thursday, to make sure you're good to go in that morning. Printers play a lot of games. Like we want to make sure the leads are printed the night before. I know it sounds funny, but if you've ever used a printer, you probably know they ain't always fun to work with. So top producers use a lead blend. A little bit of everything does work. So a little bit of everything does work. Absolutely. I know that for myself, I use a blend of pretty much every lead type you can imagine. But we always want to start agents typically on one lead type to start. That way you're not switching from, the mortgage protection script to the internet lead script to the final expense script to, you're just focusing on one script. And that's what your first, few dial days are going to look like. So make sure you purchase and print your leads the day before, like I just mentioned. So dial expectations to be a normal level producer. That's what I'm going to call this, and we're going to edit it after. Use the correct phone script. It sounds silly, but if you're dialing mortgage protection leads and you're saying that you're calling about the form they filled out regarding their final expenses, they're confused. They didn't fill out a form about their final expenses. They filled a form out about their mortgage. You want to make sure that you have the correct phone script. And if you're not sure, it's not a silly question. Run it by your upline. Hey, is this the correct phone script I should be using for these leads? Cool. Awesome. Making 15 appointments for the next 2 days. So again, we want to make sure that we're dialing on Monday for Tuesday and Wednesday. And this is the kind of like a slip up, something I do want to go ahead and mention when you are dialing. So tomorrow's Monday. We're all going to be dialing for Tuesday and Wednesday, right? So if I call Mary tomorrow and Mary tells me how busy she is on Tuesday and Wednesday and she can't meet me, I'm obviously not going to set her up for Thursday. You never, ever, 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 ever book appointments on your dial day. So you never should have appointments on Mondays or on Thursdays unless you're doing strictly telesales. But with that being said, my point more so was if I call Miss Mary tomorrow on Monday and she tells me she's busy Tuesday, Wednesday, I know I'm busy Thursday, right? That's my dial day. So the next time I'll be able to put her on be Friday. I'm not pushing Friday. Like Miss Mary Friday ain't on the table unless she's like, not in the state, or like it's Tuesday or Wednesday. Because if I book that appointment for Friday, the probability of Mary remembering that appointment is slim to none. And I just tricked myself into thinking like, oh, I booked 8 for Friday. Well, good luck getting them to show up. I know like my dentist needs to send me like a text message reminder, every the week before, the day before. And here's the thing, we don't want to be sending any type of reminder because that's an opportunity for them to opt out. It's almost like booking the appointment on Friday just to give yourself a pat on the back and a good job. But we're not texting people reminders. We're not doing any of that. So we want to make sure we're dialing on Monday for the next 2 days. Same thing on Thursday. We're dialing on Thursday for Friday and Saturday because your no-show rate is going to go through the roof if you start booking your appointments more than 72 hours out. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So make 15 appointments for the next 2 days. You want to double any activity I'm talking about right now. If you're doing virtual sales, you need to, just like everything and everybody talks about, the expectation is double that activity. So if you're an agent on here and you're like, I think I should start doing virtual sales because I struggled on the phones. Let's all you know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. If you're struggling on the phone, why would you do virtual sales? You already are having a hard enough time setting up the appointments. If you're struggling right now and you're on this call and you're doing virtual sales, I would challenge you to get uncomfortable and get in the home. and see what you can do in the home, because it might make your life a lot easier versus a lot harder. Like, I can't imagine for me every day being a dial day. And I mean, in terms of telesales, if you tried this thing for a week and like you just dialed one day or 2 days, like don't transition to telesales. Like keep working the phones. I promise you it's going to get easier if you put the work in. So I just wanted to make sure I hit on that. So dial each lead 3 times back to back to back. When I came into the IMO world and somebody told me, oh, you have to dial this lead 3 times back to back to back, I was like, why would I call somebody 3 times? Like, that's rude. Like, I was like, that's crazy. Like, that's psychotic. Like, what are they, weirdos? Like, that was literally my actual true response. Until I started dialing people 3 times back to back to back, because that's what my mentor told me to do. And I knew my mentor knew better than I did. So, and I was like, oh, shoot, like 90% of people answer on this 3rd call. And they're like, hello. And you're like, hey, Brenda, I'm just getting back to you about that form you filled out. And like, they don't even remember that you called 3 times. If somebody says, why did you call 3 times? Like, they're not going to ask you that. You know why? Because you might be being like, well, I would ask that. Well, would you fill a form out with all your personal information on and send it back to somebody that you don't know? I mean, if you would, then like, I don't know, you should expect your phone to ring 3 times back to back, because all we're trying to do, like, you're not bothering them. They're bothering you. The fact you have to call 3 times, they're bothering you. They filled the form out asking for help. All we're doing is making sure we get them that help. That's all you're doing. And if you can change your view on that, you're going to book a heck of a lot of more appointments, because I would know, as I definitely have been on both sides of that coin. Make at least 400 dials. So you might be like, wow, 400 dials. Phone burner will make 400 dials in like 4 minutes. Not literally, but phone burner will make 400 dials in 2 to 3 hours. If you have phone burner and you're not making at least 400 dials, like, that's upsetting. Like, I'm not, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. You need to stop pausing it. You need to start believing in yourself a little bit more, because phone burner, there's literally no excuse. Like, when these power dialers came out, I literally said to everybody, I didn't, honestly, I personally, I didn't like them. I liked to dial the leads myself. I liked to do that. But what I realized is not everybody wants to manually make 400 dials. I just got so used to manually making 400, 500, 600 dials that like it didn't faze me. I was like, why is everybody being, dramatic about this? However, again, phone burner is going to take the emotion out of it. So if you know yourself better than I do, and if you know that you're going to be really emotional about it, or the phone is going to get heavy, so to say, after a certain amount of calls, like if you make 30 calls and you're like, or you make 100 calls and you're like over there sweating it, like, man, get phone burner and do everybody a favor, because that's really dramatic. And again, I say this with so much love, it just doesn't make sense to me when a new agent calls and they said like, man, Christina, I made 100 dials and like, I don't know what to do. Like, you made 100 dials. I make 100 dials sometimes and don't book an appointment. And then guess what? My next 100, I booked 9 appointments. It's a numbers game. We have to remember that. We're playing our numbers. Only you can play your numbers. But if you don't play the numbers, they'll never work out, right? So make at least 400 dials. If you're using phone burner, make at least 800 dials. I'm not, like, that's embarrassing, guys. It's a power dial, right? Make at least 800 dials. If you're dialing manually, make at least 400. It's 400 dials or until I book 15 appointments. It's 800 dials on phone burner or until I book 15 appointments. When you're dialing the phone, what I would encourage you all to do is, because all of us just want everybody to tell us yes, including myself, by the way. But that's not a reality, right? The reality says that people are going to tell us no. And that has to be okay with us, or we're going to get pushed out of this industry so quickly. And it's so unfortunate. If you can get on the phone and say, today I'm going on the phones, I'm dialing, and I'm going to get 100 no's, and then I'm going to get off the phone. It's a different mindset. If you're going for no, you're going to get yeses. Now you're not desperate And you're not like, I need to book Joe. And you're like, hey, Joe. I'm trying to be like Joe's best friend. And he's like, this person's like really strange. I wouldn't want to let them in my house. Like I have kids, right? So it's like, you got to make sure that you're being, that you know your numbers. Like you're using a dial tracker, whether that's on phone burner or not. Don't BS the dial tracker. The dial tracker is a really big deal. Your upline and your mentor doesn't have anything to go off of if they don't know how many dials you made, how many people you talked to, and how many appointments you set up. And this isn't like, oh, I'm just going to go through my phone and be like, I made 5,000 dials. Like, you got to track it somehow. So if you're using phone burner, still use the dial tracker and tally it out. And if you're dialing manually, use the dial tracker as it normally looks. So start dialing early. You want to start dialing at 7:30, 7:45 a.m. latest. And I will openly say, like, if you're not on the phones at 7:30, making that first dial, that 7:30 to 10:30 a.m. hour, I personally book about 70% of my appointments in those first 3 hours, if not 100%. And it's just because people are just waking up. They don't usually have anything that they're mad about yet that day, right? We're all human beings. We all get mad about things throughout the day. We had a good day, we had a bad day. We're mad about this, we're fighting with this one, whatever it is, we're human beings. But my point is when you can catch a client answering, or a potential client answering the phone at 8:15 in the morning on their way to work, and you set up the appointment, it's strong, it's solid, it's set in stone. They don't have anything, like they're answering the phone like, hey, they're on their way to work, like they're just chilling. Nothing bad could happen that day yet, typically, you know? So my point is you have a much higher chance of setting those appointments 7:30 to 10:30. If you're not dialing in those hours, you're not hurting anybody but yourself. If you're like, well, I like to sleep in. Well, do you like to sleep in, or do you like to make 2,000 dials? Because you like, because that's the difference there. Like, so dial session 1, if you will, should be 7:30. I would say till 1:30. I know it says till 12 p.m. on the slide. 7:30 to 1:30. You're going to get a good amount of people on the phone, and you may just book your schedule up then if you can be really intentional with those hours. Dial session 2 is going to be from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So now you're catching your people coming home from work. You're catching people who are actually home. They're with their spouse, they're with their significant other, they have a time, they can, pin it down together, so to say. So you're on the phones 7:30. Again, I'm gonna edit this slide, 1:30. And then the second one, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. You might think, like, is 9 p.m. too late to call somebody? You've been calling them all day, they ain't answering. Maybe they work the night shift. No, 9 p.m. is not it's not an unacceptable time to call somebody. They filled the form out online, they filled it out. I don't care. They filled it out somewhere. They need help. I don't care what time you're calling them, unless it's like 1 in the morning. Don't be weird, okay? But my point is yes, dial the phones till 9 p.m. All right, so phone burner. So in regards to phone burner, you register on phoneburner.com. There's 3 options. And essentially what you're going to do from there is you're going to export your leads, and you're going to load them into this automating dialer. And it's going to take the emotion out of it, as well as help you be a lot more efficient, with your time. So again, this power dialer is making sure that unless you're literally stopping it, that it's just going to keep dialing your leads for you. So when somebody answers, it connects to you, but if not, it just keeps dialing the next number. So you're going to make 3 to 5 more dials per hour with phone burner. So I do suggest it's definitely worth it. And the expectation you want to have for yourself, if you're not using phone burner and you're just manually dialing, is 40 dials an hour. The phone, if you think about it like this, we're dialing people 3 times back to back to back, right? So we're calling, Mary's number, line 1, if you will, 617-333-1111. We're calling that number 3 times back to back to back. If we think about it, that phone line is only ringing for 30 seconds. And I don't need to hear Mary's voicemail all 3 times I call her. If I'm calling somebody and they're like, the only reason I'm listening, so on the first dial, Mary doesn't answer, I'm just quickly listening to Mary's voicemail. And if the only thing I'm listening for is, let's just say I'm going to use a different name because Mary probably goes by Mary. But let's just say we're calling Jonathan, right? The lead says Jonathan Smith, okay? When I call Jonathan on his voicemail, I want to hear the first time I call him, if he says, hi, you've reached Jonathan, I'm not available. Or if he says, hey, this is John, leave a message, whatever he says. I want to know, what does he go by? Does he go by John? Like, does Jimmy go by Jim? Does Ronald go by Ron? Like, so on and so forth. So I'm only listening for that. And that's 30 seconds. Okay. So back to my point of the 40 dials, if you're dialing manually an hour, 40 dials an hour, you're 30 seconds that the phone line rings. And now the next 2 times that I call Mary, right, I'm letting it ring 3 times. I'm hanging up, I'm calling back, letting it ring 3 times, hanging up, going to the next lead, right? Because I don't need to waste all day with Mary's lead. So that's what that looks like. But download Phone Burner. It's going to make sure you're utilizing your time. You're taking the emotion out of it, which I have a lot of new agents that will be like, I'm not emotional. And like, to be honest, I don't consider myself a very emotional person either. But if you're not used to rejection, which as human beings, we don't like rejection, then like, this is the way to go. Like, if you feel like, I'm going to be offended if someone tells me no, you might be like, well, I'm not. Okay, well, pick your leads up and dial them. If you are, take the emotion out of it with Phone Burner. All right, and then downloading WorkSpot. So this is a really big deal. So through your onboarding process, you've probably heard WorkSpots, and it's because, again, so to get WorkSpots, you go on getworkspots.com. What this is going to do for you as an FFL agent, it's $99 a month, but you're going to literally save more than you spend. Like that $99, you're going to be like, ooh, I'm so happy that I spent it, because they give discount codes that are typically 25 to 50% off. I've seen discount codes that are like 70% off a certain lead type for a certain amount of days. It also allows you to plug into any FFL office around the country. So if you're like, well, I work with you guys and your office is out of, Chelmsford, Mass, it doesn't matter. Paul McLean's office is out of Apple Valley, California, and that's my direct upline. So it doesn't matter where your direct upline is. It's get to the closest office near you, because whoever's in that office, they're going to be a top producer or agency builder that's going to have other people in their dialing. You're going to put yourself in the right environment. And access to free sales training at your local offices. So a lot of the offices have local sales training each and every Monday and Thursday, so each dial day. So again, I want to reiterate, Monday and Thursday would typically be the 2 days you're going to this office. So you'll have access to training, throughout the day. So there are 4 different lead options we're going to kind of break down here. CRM cherry pick leads are the leads that we start every new agent on. We would be, in my personal opinion, we would be almost disrespectful to you if we didn't start you on these leads. And that's because you're going to get the most of them at the lowest cost. The other 3 lead types we're going to talk about today, and I would jot this stuff down because you're going to need it in the future, are direct mail, buy per lead, and mail drop programs, Facebook funnel expense leads, and live transfer leads. So just to go over the CRM or cherry pick leads, there are a multitude of different types of leads. So instant internet leads, new internet leads, they're pretty much the same exact type of lead. They're both an internet generated lead type. The only difference between them is the instant internet lead is dropped into the CRM immediately after the client puts their inquiry in online. Whereas the new internet lead is dropped into the CRM typically 24 to 48 hours after the inquiry was submitted. Hence why the instant is at $11 per lead and the new internet lead is at $9 per lead. Aged internet life leads. What's an aged lead, you might ask? So let's just say that Christina buys an internet life lead here in Middlesex County, Massachusetts. She buys 50 of them. And now she doesn't sell, let's just say she doesn't sell, 40 of them in the first 30 days of her having those leads. If Christina doesn't help that family, it goes back into the system after 30 days as an aged lead. So you have 30 days to resolve that lead before it's going back into the system. Now, when Christina's lead goes back into the system, it's going to be available to any other FFL agent as an aged 1-month internet lead. And now every 30 days, it's going to age out to now a 3-month internet lead, right? So these range from $3 to $4. Again, with work spots, it's going to cut a lot of these costs here, like literally in half. So if you don't have work spots and you're buying leads, please get it. You're going to save more money on your lead order than it would make sense to not have it. So again, think that through before you're placing your lead order. Also in the CRM is aged direct mail leads. So final expense and mortgage protection, they range anywhere from 3 to 9 months on that aged side. There are also, 1 month, 2 month, and 3 month mortgage and final expense leads. And again, same thing. An agent is getting a brand new, mortgage mailer. That agent has 30 days to work it and help that family. If they're unable to do so, it goes back into the CRM as a 1-month mortgage lead. And so on. Every 30 days, it ages out, it ages out, it ages out. I do want to mention that talking about that first 30 days, it's not like you're never going to have access to the lead again. You will always have that lead. When you buy it as a new internet lead, a 1 month, an aged, whatever it is, it's never going to be removed from your CRM. But the whole 30 days that I'm saying it goes back into the system, it's giving another agent an at-bat at that lead. So I hope that makes sense. Social media leads. And there are Spanish options available in some areas for social media leads, internet leads, direct mail leads, pretty much any lead type. Just reach out to your upline. I know that Spanish speaking leads can be a game changer for a lot of people. I wish I spoke Spanish. So if you're bilingual, you're on this call, kudos to you because it's going to help you out a lot. But anyway, so social media leads. So these are final expense lead generated from either Facebook or YouTube, and the price range is anywhere from $15 to $25 per lead. So these are newer leads, like brand new leads, also out of the CRM. And then aged social media leads, same thing like I mentioned before, it becomes an aged lead if you do not sell that lead within the first 30 days of having it. If you do make a sale on that lead, you do what we call our suppression to that lead. Corporate does not put it back into the system. Instead, they take it out of the system. They mark it as, this is Christina Maggio's client. No one else must, need to help them. And it's removed from the CRM at that point in time. All right. So direct mail leads are a buy per lead, which is often referred to as a BPL plan. And BPL, again, is standing for buy per lead. This is an adult lead type. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't suggest anybody's doing this, within like their first, I don't know, like I would say like their first few months, it's going to take some time, right? So the rule of thumb within our organization is you have to pay at least $15,000 of business to even have a buy per lead conversation with your manager. So buy per lead, again, is only recommended after an agent is consistent in deposits for at least 1+ month. We do this because we want to make sure we're not putting an agent in a bad predicament. What this is going to do is it locks out a county. So let's say that you live in Essex County, Massachusetts. You want to lock out some mortgage mail. You want them to drop mortgage mail for you. And now when these get returned, your card gets automatically charged as they come in, and it's your lead. So it's a brand new lead with yes, it is. But these range from $55 to $72 per lead. And it would make no sense if we told every new agent, hey, let's put you on a BPL program. Like, no, when I came into this business, I was not ready for a BPL program. I needed to work the leads. I needed to get the objections. So I knew how to overcome that. Because by the way, guys, like you can call on like 70 of your leads and get no result, but it's like, that means nothing. It literally means absolutely nothing. It means that you aren't working hard. Like, I just want to let you know that, because I can also get 70 of these leads and they can tell me all to go fly a kite. It doesn't make one lead, better than the other one. So this is essentially something that is going to be in the future, if even needed at all. But basically, it locks out that county. So if Christina's locking out Essex County, Massachusetts, all the leads that come back in terms of whatever lead type she's locking out, whether it's final expense or mortgage protection, they're going to come back to Christina and they're going to automatically charge her card. And then once this program is turned on, it's not like it turns over in a week or two. It takes about 3 to 6 weeks to have those leads coming back to you. If you want to inquire about those, you can always inquire at leads@familyfirstlife.com, and you want to let them know the county, the state, and then your manager's name so that they can give you that information. So mortgage protection leads are leads that they're either a brand new loan, a refinance, they could have taken out a hemlock or, a line of equity on the home, and they're receiving this piece of mail. And it's saying, dear Mrs. Smith, Mary Smith, in the event that, something should happen, make sure the Smith family would be okay with your, $300,000 mortgage with Quicken Loans. It's going to say something along the lines of that. Now, Miss Mary's interested. She fills the form out. She sends it back in the mail. That's what we're receiving. So retro mortgage data. This targets homeowners who've had their home loan for 2 to 10 years. Did they probably receive one of these guys here, these mortgage protection leads? Yes, 2 to 10 years ago, absolutely. Did they probably fill it out? No. That's where retro comes into place. So retro is going to target homeowners that have had the loan for 2 to 10 years. And essentially what that form is going to state is that they've extended the plan. They have access to be able to still get mortgage protection on that loan. And then call-in lead. So a call-in lead is a mortgage lead, just like up here. So it's new, it's a new loan, it's new data, it's refinance, it's a line of equity. And essentially, instead of the client mailing that information back, they get a postcard in the mail and they call in, and then they verify information over the phone. If they verify all their information, these are $36 a lead. If they verify some of their information, they're $5 a lead. And then final expense mail. So this would be the last type of BPL mail type. So this is targeting the age group of 50 to 80 years old. The minimum to lock out is 10 per county. And they're $32 to $40 a piece, depending on the state and county that you live in or are wanting to drop the mail in. So they would be able to give you more details on that. Here in Massachusetts, they're $33 per lead. But again, just another lead type there. So direct mail lead options are a great, okay. So direct mail options are great because you're still able to have those like mailers, so to say, but you're paying for them on the front end. Because what they're going to do is now Christina ties out Essex County, but she's tying it out on a mail drop program. Now she's tying it out saying, I'm going to prepay. They're going to say, it's 60 cents per piece of mail dropped. And then any mail that comes back goes to Christina. So Christina's order, let's just say, so basically it can be dropped weekly, it can be dropped bi-weekly or monthly. So it's specific, it's county specific. The agent has to lock the county out. Turnaround time is 3 to 6 weeks. The biggest difference between this right here and what I just went over is this part. It's a prepaid option. There's not a commitment. When you tie out a BPL, you are committing to that. So it's a lot bigger of a hat, I guess we can say. So again, turnaround time is 3 to 6 weeks. You can inquire about mail drop programs at leads@familyfirstlife.com. And lead options that are available again are mortgage protection, retro mortgage, and final expense. And what these typically look like is mortgage data, give or take, is about 69 cents. And then it's 1,000 records. They'll do that every week or every other week. With retro, 1,000 records, again, typically every week. And then final expense, 1,000 records, again, every week. Facebook final expense. So how is this lead generated? Is it good? Is it like, what does it look like, right? So there's many different, so I'll start with what is the lead. So essentially the potential prospect or the prospect responded to a Facebook ad for final expense life insurance. So they clicked on an ad, they filled in all their information and asked them a question like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite hobby? Some type of identifier that's going to be like, okay, like, Christina, your favorite hobby is fishing. Like, it's like, why would I know her favorite hobby is fishing unless she filled the form, right? So it's going to have a whole bunch of information on it there. There are multiple vendor options. So again, these are available in the CRM now. They're also available if you go on FFLsolidity.com and you'll look at the vendors there. There's Happy Agent Leads, Game Time Leads, Bang Bang Leads, Lead Bank, Leadrilla, Tips, Tricks, and Closers, and there's a few more. So the price range on these is $15 to $40 a lead. Again, this is all based off of the vendor that you're using, the state, and the lead type. So the quality or the kind of the target range, so to say, is going to probably be the biggest definer of if it's going to be $15 or $40 for that lead. So the lead options are state or county specific. Spanish options are available. There are BPL or buy per lead options available via Game Time and Lead Bank. They have the option to lock a county out if you're in that stage where you'd want to go ahead and do that. So live transfer leads, a live transfer lead, let's start with how the lead was generated. So the lead was online, basically inquiring, or the prospect's online inquiring about life insurance and was reached out to by a call center member. So you're not the call center. So the call center member screens the lead and then they transfer it to the FFL agent. There's not a set price. You bid on these leads. And you set your max bid. You say, okay, I'm in Essex County, I'm in the state of Massachusetts. I'll bid on this lead for $100 a lead. And now you'll get the next lead. They bill you $100 and hopefully you're able to do a call to close. Live transfer leads are most commonly used to do a call to close. If you're using a live transfer lead, you should be getting that call transferred to you and you should be closing it right then and there. The vendors you're able to use for these are All Web Leads, EverQuote, and EverQuote does work exclusively with FFL agents. You can inquire by visiting the website and reaching out to the vendor. They do a pretty cool match program, so if you want to check that out, if you're doing telesales, I would definitely encourage you to check out that website. This one right here, go.everquote.com/print. All right, so log in by going now purchasing leads. What does that look like? So and when you click we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna log in. You should all have an HCMS login. If you haven't logged in, it's going to be the same exact login credentials. Okay. So you're gonna log in that way. Oh, and of course mine just fails. Okay. Let's see, hopefully I know my password. This is me. All right. One second, guys. Okay, so when you log in, this is a new CRM for Family First Life. It's very much set up similar to the other one. When you log in on the left side, you're going to go to ILC or Integrity Lead Center. And this is where we're going to be purchasing our leads. So just so you guys can kind of take a look or follow along with, so to say, is anybody on this call today purchasing leads like right now? If you are, please feel free to unmute yourself.
I will this week.
Okay, this week, but not today, right?
No, not today.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else buying leads today? No? Okay, so I'm just going to go through kind of a fake scenario here, so to say. So again, all I am in.
Krista, I'm going to get leads.
Okay, today?
If it's, if it's the availability. I know you told me I have to go in and see the availability.
Absolutely. So, Marcia, we'll go through it while we're on this call, or we can also go through it when we hop off, but we'll make sure we have a
Okay.
good premise, okay?
All right.
All right, perfect. So when we log in, guys, you're gonna see this map pop up. And I'm in Massachusetts, so we're just gonna use this as an example. So we'll click on the state. I'm gonna click on the county. You can also go up here and you can pick your state and your county. So whatever way, like if you don't know where it is, you can do it that way. And then when you go down here, you're gonna see these little tabs here. And if they're not, so mine are green because I already turned them on. You want to go to your county and you want to turn on these. So see alert already set for this county, click to disable. So set alert. I'm setting an alert, and all this is doing is anytime there's a lead that's uploaded into Middlesex County, Massachusetts, right? Because that's the county that I'm looking at. It's going to just simply shoot me an email. All it says is there's leads in Middlesex County, Massachusetts. So that way you're able to know when there's new leads dropped into the CRM. So if you're in need of leads or like, I'd like to grab some more, that way it's just automatically sending it to you versus you checking the CRM, 20 times a day. All right, so with that being said, when you're ordering your leads, again, going back to, so we're looking at the different lead types here, right? So over here, these are your internet leads. Right in the middle are your direct mail leads. And then to the right are your social media leads, which we don't have any available in the state. Thanks. That's okay. All right, we're gonna use a different county for the sake of this call. I'm gonna use Sussex County, Delaware, because why not? Okay, so when you're going to place your order, let's just say, this is what we're working with. We're going to get some 1 month internet leads, right? So if I'm a brand new agent, I know I need at least 100 new leads, preferably 150 new leads. And when I say new, I mean new to me, like they're new to me. So a 1 month lead is new to me. It's a new lead. Okay, guys? So also good thing to know is if you click this I here, it's going to tell you exactly what the lead is. So it's like, if you're on here and you're like, what does it mean that it's a 3 month without image? You click on it and it tells you, exactly what it is, the cost and how it was generated. So you want to make sure, you kind of, play around with this a little bit, get comfortable with it. So let's just say we're going to grab some internet leads. So I would go over here, and if I'm a brand new agent, I'm probably going to grab these 34 leads, right? And then let's just say, because there's one instant, I would probably suggest that you grab that too. And then on the 1 month, because again, I have, so there's 35, I have to make up for 65 more, right? So I'm going to do 65. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go add to cart. So leads added to cart gives me a message. You see my cart has 100 leads in it. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do, if I have a WorkSpots coupon code, that's the only way you'd have a coupon code outside of completing the bootcamp. You're going to go ahead and you're going to put that coupon code in here, ABC. You would apply it. It would reflect on your order. I want to go ahead and emphasize this right here. When you have a WorkSpots coupon code, it should be reflecting in your order total. So if it's like, 30% off and you enter the code and you apply it and you don't notice that it says it's not applied, and then the order, it doesn't change. It's like if you're online, like you got to think about like you're online shopping and you're not seeing the code apply, go ahead and apply the code again. So from there, you're going to go proceed to payment. And since I don't live in Sussex County, Delaware, I'm not going to buy these leads. But what I would go to is I would go to edit payment methods if I'm a new agent. I'm going to go ahead and put my payment method on file there. Okay, so this is where you're putting your payment method on file. And then purchase. So you purchase your leads, boom, you check out, you're good to go. So now you're probably saying, well, where do I find my leads after I purchase them? So you purchase them, you're good to go. You're going to go to manage leads. Personally, again, we just got a new CRM. So this is what they call card view. I personally like list view better, but that's completely up to you. So this is going to have all of the leads here listed. And if you go here to the bottom, you're going to see how many leads you can view per page. Now, obviously, I've been doing this for a while, so I have many, but 100 leads per page, 20 leads per page. And what you're going to want to go ahead and do, how you pull these out, so to say, is going to be two ways. So first and foremost, if it's your first lead order, you just click this little box here, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to hit template. So it's selecting all those leads and it's making sure it's downloading them. So you hit template. Eventually a PDF is going to pop up, which it did. I'm going to now open up that PDF. And boom, there's my leads, right? So now, however, I want to make sure that I'm like really noting this. If you're buying internet leads, which a lot of you guys are, you want to go ahead and you want to do template, but then you want to go back, hit that guy again, that little box to select all your leads. And this time you're going to hit export. Export CSV. Now your CSV is the same thing you would be inputting into Phone Burner. So the CSV on all your leads is going to have a lot more information. So when you're dialing through your internet leads, you're going to have things like their height and weight, if they're single, married, divorced, widowed, like that's important information. If somebody called me and knew my life story, I can't tell them I didn't fill the form out, right? So that's what it looks like to buy leads. And all right. So the leads are always going to be available 15 minutes. They might not be available instantly after you buy them, but it's literally 15 minutes. So don't panic. It usually just takes like, sometimes it's like 2 minutes, sometimes it's 15 minutes. And they'll always be in your CRM, like I just showed you guys, manage leads, go to search. All right, and then this is a big one right here. So lead resolution is key. So what does lead resolution mean? Lead resolution means you're getting a yes or a no from every lead that you have, okay? It's, you got Barbara booked and Mary, like you're good. You don't ever have to call Mary again. So some ways that you're able to do this is door knocking your leads. Door knocking your leads is a very big deal. If you're not willing to door knock your leads, you're gonna make this business a lot harder than it really needs to be. So that's up to you. So what is a door knock? A door knock means you go to John Smith's home who never answers the phone with the lead. You knock on his door. Hey, John, my name's Marisa. I was just with your neighbor down the street, been unable to get a hold of you on the phone. But it's just my job to get this information out to you. Is now a good time? Like that's it. And John lets you in or you book the appointment. So with that being said, for every appointment that you have scheduled, so think about it like this, you schedule 15 appointments, right? For the next 2 days. For every appointment that you have scheduled, you want to have 5 places that you can go and door knock. So if I have somebody booked in Everett, Massachusetts, I'm going to have 5 other leads that are in Everett, Massachusetts, or in a small vicinity of that I can go to if John Smith in Everett, Massachusetts is not home when I go to his house and I get no show. This way I'm able to just essentially be like, okay, John no-showed me, but I have these 5 other places that I can go. And I'm not rummaging through my leads. Like that's literally, like, I always hated this saying for whatever, like people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. But like with door knock straight up, like people fail to plan. Like they're like, oh, this person's definitely going to be home. They might not be. So you want to make sure that for every appointment you have, even if you're setting those 15 appointments, that you have 5 other places you can go and door knock, because it's also going to help you utilize your time. If you drive out to somewhere that's maybe 45 minutes away, okay, and now John's not home, what if you have 5 other places you can go and potentially help another family? Why wouldn't you do that? Because if not, you're going to have to go out there and get a yes or a no in another way. There's also an app, it's called Road Warrior. You download it to your phone. It's really helpful as it will synchronize a door knock route for you. So if you know that you have, for example, maybe you're new and you've booked up a couple of appointments, and that's awesome because we all start somewhere. I want to make that really clear. Like, I'm not on here saying like, if you don't book 15 appointments on your first, dial day, like you're awful. Like, actually, I didn't book 15 appointments on my first dial day, so you're not. It's normal, but you got to get better each week. and you're going to get better each week by implementing things and following the system. There's no reason for me to give you guys advice that doesn't make sense, because that is not going to help me or serve me. And it's also not going to give me, you know, this hour and a half back on a Sunday, or you guys, right? So like, I'm not telling you this to hurt you. I'm telling you this because I've done it long enough to know that if your activity isn't high enough, you're gonna fail. And you're gonna try to blame everything except yourself. So take some self-accountability and tell yourself, I am going to schedule 5 door knocks for every appointment I set, no matter how solid it is. Because even if you do get into John's house, you're already in Everett, might as well go door knock a couple people and get some yes or no's. You have a lead. You have a piece of paper with somebody's information on it. That's all you need. You're like, well, it's weird if somebody knocked on my door. Again, would you fill a form out? It's not about what you would do. You wouldn't fill a form out. And if you would, and you think it's weird that if someone called you and then they knocked on your door because you don't answer your phone, it's like, what else are you supposed to do? So making sure when you're in the field, you're in the field, meaning that you're resolving your leads in some way, shape, or form. Resolving your leads is income producing activity. So you're dialing in between your appointments. If you have John at 12 and then you don't have Mary until 5 p.m., you have a gap there, right? Even if you sit with John, you know, you help him and his family out, you know, you have a pretty good, like a 4-hour gap there. You want to be door knocking. You want to be dialing in between your appointments. Another thing that's really big about this one here, dialing in between appointments, this probably makes me an additional $50,000 each year, dialing in between appointments. You know why? Because all of the people I've ever dialed on or that I'm dialing on each week, they know I call on Monday and Thursday. They're not confused. Like the lead I bought a month ago that I still haven't got on the phone or I still haven't got in front of, you know, door knocking, they know I'm going to call them on Monday and Thursday. It's almost like they're waiting for it. But if I call them on Wednesday at, you know, 2:30 when I'm in the middle of my appointments, they're more likely to answer because I don't usually call Wednesday at 2:30. So you want to use older leads as a filler after you purchase your new, like, so once you buy new leads, the leads you bought the day from the dial day before or the week before, you are not getting those leads until you get a yes or a no. However, I used to like trick myself and I would be like, okay, well, you know what, like Christina, if I can go ahead and I can just, you know, I bought 150 leads last dial day. I still have 75 I haven't even talked to yet. So Christina, I'm going to save like $500 this week by not purchasing leads. Like, dude, you didn't just save $500. Like, trust me, you didn't. Because there's going to be somebody in there who needs help. It's your job to find them. So if you're not purchasing leads before every dial day, you're not, you know, playing anybody but yourself. And we want to all play this in our favor, right? So using like, so if I get my new leads, I'm putting those leads and I'm dialing those first and foremost on top. And I'm going to make sure I get through those new leads throughout that day, again, in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. However, I'm also going to make sure that the leads I purchased before that are still being resolved. So it's like, it's my job to get a yes or no on every single lead that I buy. And if you're not going to do that, do everybody and do that family a favor and don't purchase the lead because you're hurting a family. They're asking for help. Whether you can or can't get a hold of them, it's up to you. There's many different ways to get a hold of them. So like, don't purchase leads if you're not going to dial. It's me. I'm not even like being funny. So if you're not going to dial, please don't purchase leads. There's another agent who needs those leads, and there's another family, and that family needs help. So don't do that. So what are the next steps, right? So purchase and print your leads. Download Phone Burner. Download work spots and plug into your local office. Get around a good environment. Plug into Dial Team. Again, so Dial Team is zoomsolidity.com. Again, zoomsolidity.com. Download the Road Warrior app. The Road Warrior app is going to synchronize your route for your door knocks to make sure that you're on the most efficient route that makes sense. Make appointments and protect families.